Most Americans have been sold a lie. They've been told that the American dream is something waiting at the end of the road, a gift that comes with citizenship, or a paycheck, or a diploma. They've been told it is a birthright, like sunlight or oxygen. But here's the brutal truth. The American dream doesn't care where you were born. It doesn't care what color your skin is. It doesn't care if your parents were rich or poor. It only cares if you are willing to bleed for it. And bleeding doesn't just mean sweat on the factory floor or hours in an office cubicle. It means tearing away every illusion that the world owes you something. Think about it. If the American dream were inherited, we wouldn't see second-generation heirs of billionaires losing everything in a single decade. We wouldn't see children of privilege drowning in addiction, depression, and purposelessness. Meanwhile, immigrants arrive with nothing but broken English and borrowed shoes. And in one lifetime, they build empires. Why? Because they never assumed the dream was theirs by default. They demanded it from themselves every single day. The difference between entitlement and demand is the difference between decay and growth. Entitlement says, the system failed me. Demand says, the system was never built for me, so I will build myself. Entitlement waits for permission. Demand breaks the lock and builds the door. When you demand the dream, you accept suffering as your currency. You refuse to be coddled by society's constant whisper. You deserve rest, you deserve ease, you deserve comfort. No, you don't deserve anything until you've proven you can carry the burden of responsibility that freedom requires. Every generation before you carved this nation with their hands, their backs, and their graves. To inherit their dream without demanding anything of yourself is theft. To demand nothing and expect everything is cowardice. Demanding the dream means confronting the reality that your comfort zone is the most dangerous prison in America. Millions are locked inside it, scrolling endlessly, entertained to death, waiting for their miracle. But miracles don't come to spectators, they come to warriors, and a warrior doesn't wait for opportunity. He creates it, even in the rubble of disappointment, even when the odds spit in his face. Ask yourself honestly, are you waiting for the dream to fall into your lap, or are you demanding it with your actions? Are you chained to excuses, or are you forging chains into tools? If the answer is the former, then you are already losing. But if the answer is the latter, then congratulations, you have already begun to unlock the dream. Not by waiting, not by hoping, not by demanding from others, but by demanding everything from yourself. That is the secret nobody wants to admit. The American dream is not inherited, it is demanded, and the demand begins with you today now, before you take another breath in wasted comfort. We live in an age where the word freedom is worshipped like a golden idol. People scream it on the streets, post it on social media, tattoo it on their skin. But most of what they call freedom is nothing more than chains dressed in glitter. Because freedom without responsibility is not freedom, it is slavery, a more dangerous form of slavery than any tyrant could ever impose. Think of the man who spends 10 hours a day scrolling, gaming, numbing himself with junk food, cheap thrills, or substances. He claims he's free, no boss, no rules, no authority telling him what to do. But strip away the illusion, and you see he's chained to his impulses, shackled by his appetites, ruled by every passing desire. That's not freedom, that's slavery of the soul. True freedom is not the absence of rules, it is the mastery of self. And mastery comes only through responsibility. Responsibility means you wake up before the alarm, not because someone forces you, but because you hold yourself accountable. Responsibility means you choose pain today, so you can own tomorrow. Responsibility means you carry the weight no one else wants to touch. And in that carrying, you rise above the rest. Without responsibility, your so-called freedom is nothing but a slow suicide. Look at history. Every empire that collapsed did so not from a lack of resources, but from a lack of responsibility. Rome didn't fall because it lacked wealth or soldiers. It fell because citizens traded responsibility for luxury, discipline for decadence. They confused freedom with indulgence, and indulgence is always the prelude to decay. America is no different. If we continue to worship the false god of freedom without demanding responsibility, we will rot from the inside. The chains will tighten, and this time there will be no foreign oppressor to blame. It will be self-inflicted slavery. Responsibility is the price you pay to turn liberty into power. You can have all the rights written in the Constitution, but if you lack responsibility, those rights will wither into empty words. Freedom of speech means nothing if you use it to spread lies. Freedom of choice means nothing if you choose only what is easy. Freedom of opportunity means nothing if you squander it in laziness. Freedom without responsibility does not make you strong. It makes you hollow. The harsh reality is this: if you reject responsibility, someone else will take it from you and weaponize it against you. Your employer will own your time, your debt will own your paycheck, your addictions will own your future. And you'll still tell yourself you're free, when in fact you've surrendered the most sacred form of freedom there is, the freedom to govern yourself. So the question is not whether you want freedom. Everyone wants freedom. The question is whether you're willing to chain yourself to responsibility so that your freedom is real, not counterfeit. Without that chain, freedom will rot into slavery. With it, you will rise, unshaken, untouchable, and truly free. Comfort feels warm, safe, and seductive. It whispers to you, stay here, you've earned this, you deserve this. But comfort is not your friend. It is the silent assassin of your potential. Every great dream, every breakthrough, every revolution was born not in comfort but in discomfort, in the fire of challenge, in the agony of pressure. Comfort is not harmless. It is lethal. It doesn't kill you quickly. It kills you slowly, day by day, suffocating your ambition until you wake up one morning realizing your life has been wasted. Look at the people who never rise, never change, never grow. They are not necessarily weak or stupid. They are simply addicted to comfort. They live for the easy job, the easy meal, the easy entertainment. Their lives are a cycle of predictable habits that demand nothing of them and give nothing in return. They exist, but they do not live, and worst of all, they call that happiness. But happiness built on comfort alone is an illusion. It is the anesthetic you take before the death of your ambition. True ambition cannot survive in comfort. Ambition demands struggle, risk, hunger. It needs friction the way a flame needs oxygen. Comfort strips you of that oxygen. It lulls you into believing you're progressing when in reality you're standing still, sinking deeper into mediocrity. Ask yourself, when have you grown the most? Was it when life was easy, or when life forced you into the unknown, when you had no choice but to fight, adapt, and transform? Every great leader, thinker, builder, and creator knew this truth. They stepped deliberately into discomfort, even when they didn't have to. They chose the harder path, the heavier weight, the longer road. Why? Because they understood comfort was a trap. They saw that luxury and ease make you soft, while pain and difficulty carve you into someone unbreakable. Comfort creates weakness. Discomfort creates greatness. The danger of comfort is that it feels good. And because it feels good, you justify it. You say, I'll chase my dream tomorrow. I'll start my business when I'm ready. I'll change my life when the timing is right. But tomorrow never comes. Read the tombstones of millions of souls, and you'll find comfort buried them long before death did. They waited, they postponed, they delayed until time itself ran out. Comfort was their coffin, and ambition was their unfulfilled ghost. So here is the brutal question you must face. Are you living, or are you waiting to die slowly in the embrace of comfort? Because comfort does not ask for your permission, it devours you quietly. If you want to unlock your American dream, you must crawl out of comfort and into discomfort. You must choose the risk, the challenge, the uphill climb. Every fiber of your being will resist it. But on the other side of discomfort lies your real life, your true strength, your unshakable self. Comfort is the coffin of ambition. Break it open, or be buried alive in it. We live in a culture obsessed with escaping pain. Everywhere you look, there are pills, apps, distractions, and entertainment designed to numb you the moment life gets uncomfortable. The message is loud and clear. Suffering is bad, suffering is useless, suffering should be avoided at all costs. And yet, here is the hard truth: without suffering, you will never transform. Your suffering is not meaningless. It is the price you pay to shed your old self and step into who you were meant to become. Think about it. The strongest steel is forged in fire, not sunshine. Diamonds are born from pressure, not comfort. A butterfly is only a butterfly because it fought its way out of the cocoon, tearing its own fragile body just to strengthen its wings. Without that struggle, the butterfly dies. Nature itself screams this principle at us. Transformation is impossible without pain. And yet, we humans are the only creatures arrogant enough to believe we can cheat that law. When you suffer, you are being refined. The heartbreak that shatters you is the same fire that burns away your illusions about love, forcing you to rebuild yourself on truth instead of fantasy. The failure that humiliates you is the same hammer that smashes your arrogance and teaches you humility, precision, and grit. The loss that devastates you is the same storm that exposes your strength, the strength you never knew you had until life stripped everything away. But here's the danger: when people believe suffering is meaningless, they surrender to despair. They wallow, they complain, they curse life itself. They never realize that suffering is the toll gate to greatness. Every extraordinary life has passed through it. Every leader, every creator, every fighter has faced suffering that should have destroyed them. But instead of letting it kill them, they paid the price, and the payment transformed them into something larger than life. Your suffering is not a punishment, it is an initiation. Life is asking you, how badly do you want your dream? Badly enough to be bruised for it, badly enough to be broken for it, badly enough to endure ridicule, rejection, sleepless nights, loneliness, and fear. If your answer is yes, then your suffering is not wasted. It is the currency of transformation, and it will buy you strength, wisdom, and power beyond imagination. The American dream itself was born out of suffering. Pilgrims freezing in the wilderness, pioneers crossing deadly frontiers, civil rights leaders beaten and jailed for daring to speak truth. They all paid the price, and because they paid, the dream survived. Do you honestly think you will inherit it without suffering? Do you think you can bypass the blood, sweat, and tears that built it? No, the dream is not for the comfortable. It is for the ones who suffer and rise anyway. So stop asking why you suffer. Start asking who you are becoming through it. Your suffering is not meaningless. It is the exact cost of unlocking the life you say you want. Pay it, or stay the same forever. Excuses are the most expensive lies you will ever tell yourself. They cost you time, they cost you opportunity, they cost you destiny. Excuses whisper to you in the dark. You're too tired, you're too old, you're too young, you don't have the money, you don't have the connections, tomorrow will be better. And while you cling to those excuses, life moves on without you. The American dream doesn't vanish, it simply passes into the hands of someone who chose action over excuses. We've built a culture that worships excuses. Whole industries thrive on them. People spend hours blaming the system, the government, their parents, the economy, their past, their circumstances. And yes, the system is flawed. Yes, life is unfair. Yes, you were handed obstacles you didn't deserve. But excuses don't remove those obstacles. They multiply them. Action is the only language reality understands. If you don't act, you don't advance. It's that simple, that brutal, that undeniable. Excuses are comfortable. They allow you to avoid risk. They allow you to stay in bed while convincing yourself you're being logical. But excuses also turn dreams into corpses. Look around you. How many people do you know who had talent, intelligence, even opportunity, but buried it under excuses? They had ideas they never built, businesses they never launched, relationships they never repaired, all because action was too frightening and excuses were too easy. Their dreams died quietly, without a funeral, smothered beneath their own justifications. Actions, on the other hand, are loud. They don't need to be explained, defended, or rationalized. Action is proof, action is evidence. When you act, the world takes notice. You may fail, yes, you may stumble, yes, but even your failures, if born of action, carry more weight than a lifetime of excuses. A failed attempt teaches more than a perfect excuse ever will, and here's the shocking truth. Most people aren't defeated by failure, they're defeated by excuses before they even begin. If you want to unlock your American dream, you must set fire to your excuses, burn them so completely that there is no path back to them. Then let your actions roar so loudly that they silence every doubt, every critic, every hesitation. Don't tell people you're serious, show them by your consistency. Don't tell yourself you'll change, prove it by doing the thing you fear today, not tomorrow. Don't wait for courage, build it in motion. Action is the forge, and courage is the metal it produces. The American dream was never designed for the timid or the excuse makers. It was built for those who acted when they had nothing, when the odds were impossible, when their voices were trembling, but they spoke anyway. The dream does not respond to words, it responds to action, and when your actions burn louder than your excuses, there is nothing, no system, no obstacle, no circumstance that can hold you back. So stop defending your limitations, stop feeding your excuses. The lock to your dream is in your hands, and the key is action. Turn it now before time turns against you.